Who is Logan Rhys, a disaster star who once stirred up storms across all of West LUCOZIA, a demonic prodigy who robbed countless people of their sleep, and above all, the culprit behind the horrific tragedy that struck the capital a decade ago? No one could have imagined that a mere 15-year-old boy almost tore apart the heavens. No wonder the general was so terrified at the sight of him. It turns out, standing before them was none other than the long-lost Kirin child, Logan Rhys. Thud! The adjutant's legs gave way, and he collapsed to the ground, utterly devastated. Dustin glanced at Travis Spanner, and then ignored him, and walked straight up to Edward. "Uncle, save me! Uncle!" Edward clutched his broken leg, screaming for help while squirming backward like a worm, trying to escape Dustin's approach. "I told you! I'll make sure you die in pieces!" Dustin picked up the thorn whip from the ground and lashed it mercilessly across Edward's face. "Ah!" Edward let out a scream as half his face was torn open, blood streaming down. "Ah!" Edward let out a scream as half his face was torn open, blood streaming down. Dustin didn't say a word. He swung again, brutally whipping Edward's body. Smack! With a sharp crack, both Edward's skin and clothes were ripped open. "Ah!" Edward shrieked again in agony, crying out repeatedly. "Uncle! Please! Save me!" Travis Spanner stood frozen, as if he hadn't heard a thing. Dustin didn't stop. Strike after strike rained down. Blood splattered, flesh split, Edward's howls echoing as his suffering intensified. "No! Stop! I was wrong! I really was wrong!" Edward wailed, kneeling on the ground, begging for mercy. But Dustin acted like he hadn't heard a word. He whipped relentlessly, showing no mercy. All the pain Dahlia had endured, he would repay it 100-fold. "Good! Beat that bastard to death!" Hiding in the shadows, Chris Nolan silently applauded, a schadenfreude-filled grin on his face. As the saying goes, the wicked meet their match. Edward, the petty villain, had run into Dustin, the true storm. Just as Dustin's fury reached its peak, a long convoy of vehicles raced toward the Spanner residence, and came to a halt at the entrance. From the vehicles surged dozens of unknown elite soldiers. In an instant, they surrounded the entire Spanner residence, dressed in black armor, black clothes, black masks, and each carrying a black blade on their backs. They radiated chilling power. Even standing still, they exuded an overwhelming sense of pressure. Compared to Travis Spanner's men, this group was in a whole other league. So it really is the Rhys family. Looking at the soldiers with no visible insignia, Travis Spanner fell into utter despair. The last sliver of hope in his heart vanished completely. Click! At that moment, a Rolls-Royce door opened. President Hunter Anderson stepped out first. "President Hunter?" Edward Spanner, now bloodied and broken, lit up as if he'd seen a savior. He scrambled toward Hunter Anderson, crying out frantically, "President Hunter! Save me! He's trying to kill me! Arrest him! As long as you help me, I'll give you half of the Spanner family's fortune." He offered a desperate bribe. After all, no amount of money was worth more than his life. That beating had truly broken him. If it continued, he knew he'd be whipped to death. "Edward Spanner?" Hunter Anderson looked carefully at the bloody figure, and finally recognized him. Yes, it's me. President Hunter, for Master Hummer's sake, please save me." Edward clung desperately to Hunter's trousers. "Get lost!" With a sharp kick, Hunter Anderson sent him flying, not even sparing him a glance. Instead, he hurried to another car and respectfully opened the door. Out stepped an elderly man in a traditional suit, leaning on a cane, slowly and gracefully. "Be careful, sir." Hunter Anderson reached out to assist him, bowing and trembling with reverence. Edward Spanner was completely stunned. This was the president of the Swinton Chamber of Commerce, one of the three major titans. Even in front of Master Hummer, he could speak as an equal. But now, he was this humble and servile to an old man. What was going on? It wasn't just Edward who was shocked. Chris Nolan, hiding in a corner, was dumbfounded. In his eyes, Hunter Anderson was already a man who stood atop Swinton. What kind of person could make him grovel like this? Who exactly was this elderly man in the traditional robe? Sir, please save me!" Snapping back to his senses, Edward immediately crawled to the elderly man's feet, kowtowing furiously. He didn't know who the man was. But if someone like Hunter Anderson bowed to him, he had to be someone incredibly powerful, maybe even a high-ranking official from the capital. If this man helped him, maybe he could reverse his fate and win everything back. The old man glanced at him like he would at an ant, then looked away. He straightened his collar, adjusted his cuffs, and checked his appearance. Once he was sure everything was perfect, he slowly walked over to Dustin, and then, to everyone's utter disbelief, thud! He knelt down on the spot. "Your old servant greets the eldest prince."
And just can't accept it. This can't be the end yet. You promised to never leave, and now you're gone. Can't believe I can feel the world slipping away as you slowly fade from my everyday. You promised forever, a love without end, but now I'm left broken, struggling to mend. I thought we were so tied, destined for a lifetime, love with no end, love with no end. Staying in my imagination, memorizing the past time, the secrets, the love, the care, now they're echoes in the air. I still see your face in every